it was at a frat party. We were both intoxicated. He was someone that I kind of knew before, but we like actually never officially met. So he like came up to me and was like, I recognize you, and was being very flirty with me and asking me to take more shots with him. Um, ended up us being on the couch and just talking for a while, and then um, he seemed clearly super super intoxicated. He had that like hazy look in his eyes. Um, and then he convinced me to go to his room, and then that's where it happened in his room. Once it was just me and him alone in his room, he pushed himself on me against the wall, and then tried taking my clothes off. And then I I kind of resisted at first, and then it just got to the point where it's too hard to resist, that he was just too forcibly on me, that I couldn't get him off of myself. And I remember telling him that like I don't want to do this because I am a virgin. Um, and then he didn't listen to me, and um, penetrated me so hard that there was actually blood everywhere in his room. And then um, he kind of had that like really glazed over look in his eyes, and I was crying on his room floor because there was blood everywhere. And then I called some of my friends to come pick me up. When I was admitted into the ER, it was 2 days afterwards. I suffered from intense internal bleeding with that situation, and they brought in a social worker while I was in there, and they asked if I wanted to possibly press charges, but I didn't want to go through any of that. And for me, I kind of blamed it on myself for a while, because I said, oh, I was also drunk in this situation. I shouldn't have let it happen. I shouldn't have gone to his room in the first place. So for the longest time, I kind of blamed it on myself.
Alcohol is the most common drug that's used to facilitate sexual assault. And what I mean by that is that most survivors who experience assault were drinking voluntarily when it happened. And even perpetrators are also using alcohol at the time, but are often not necessarily intoxicated or drunk. And alcohol is used by a perpetrator as a tool of coercion. So it's often used to target someone who is already vulnerable due to their level of intoxication, or also to target someone by feeding them drinks and making sure their drink is never empty. Alcohol renders somebody more vulnerable in ways to sexual assault, because they are less able to physically resist. They're less able to understand that they're in a risky situation, especially since most sexual assaults happen between people they know. It happens in a place that they're comfortable, so someone isn't thinking they're in a risky situation. Their risk cues are not up that this is a potentially scary situation. So, and alcohol obviously contributes to somebody not thinking they're in a risky situation. Alcohol is never an excuse for someone's poor behavior, and sometimes perpetrators use the excuse of I was drunk, I didn't know what I was doing, as a way to kind of mask their own culpability, which of course is not okay. And also survivors often feel more responsible or more to blame because of their alcohol use, which is also not right and not okay. And anyone who is drunk and passed out, deserves to be taken home and put to bed by a good friend of theirs. And there's nothing that anyone can do. Just because you're drunk doesn't mean that you deserve or asked to be raped in any way.
I didn't want to tell people. I was too embarrassed. I didn't want it. Then after that happened, I didn't want it to be known, because I didn't want to get in trouble either. So it just looked really bad on my part if he got in trouble. I thought people would hate me. if I told on him. Once you come into college, I think even something like losing your virginity, your the the sacredness of it kind of diminishes once you're in that kind of college setting. Like before, I was always like, I'm gonna save myself for someone who's really special. And then once I got to college and saw that it was a very hookup culture. Um, Everyone just gets drunk every night and hooks up with each other. It's super casual, so it becomes more less less important in your mind of hooking up. And I guess in that way, we tend to look at things like my situation as not rape. It's just hooking up. We need to let girls have more of a stand for themselves. I think the less we let these kind of situations pass by and the more publicized these kind of situations become, the less they'll happen. Because we need to show people that there's consequences for these kind of actions. It's because have let it go on for so long and have let so many people get away with these kind of things that continually more and more happen. And they think it's okay.